Dear students, the new topic for the discussion is local anesthetics. These agents following topical application or local injections produces reversible loss of sensory perception, especially pain in a restricted area of the body. And now we can see some important points of differences of these local anesthetics from the general anesthetic agents. Their site of action is mainly on the peripheral nerves and they affect only a restricted area of the body. Usually the consciousness of the patient is not affected and there is no need for carrying vital function during anesthesia by these local anesthetic agents. This agent can safely administer even if the patient has a poor health, but its use in a non-cooperative patient is difficult, and these agents are not preferred for major surgeries. Depending upon the chemical structure, we have ester-linked as well as amide-linked local anesthetic agents. Cocaine, procaine, chloroprocaine, tetracaine and benzocaine are the ester-linked local anesthetic agents, while lidocaine, bupivacaine, dibucaine, prilocaine and ropivacaine are amide-linked local anesthetic agents. We have injectable and surface anesthetic agents. Among the injectable local anesthetic agents, the further classification is based on potency and duration of action. Procaine and chloroprocaine are the agents having low potency and short duration of action. The agents having intermediate potency and duration of action are lignocaine and prilocaine. Tetracaine, bupivacaine, ropivacaine, dibucaine are the agents having high potency and long duration of action. Surface anesthetic agents may be soluble or insoluble. The soluble compounds are cocaine, lidocaine, tetracaine and benoxenate. Insoluble ones are benzocaine, butyl aminobenzoate and oxytocin. Coming to their mechanism of action. Local anesthetics act by blocking the initiation and propagation of action potentials by preventing the voltage gated sodium channels. So, depolarization failed to reach the threshold potential. Their activity is pH dependent and their activity increased at alkaline pH. The penetration of local anesthetics to sodium channels is very poor at acidic pH. So, if you administer this local anesthetic in inflamed tissues, the response will be very low. Local anesthetics exerts their action by directly interacting with the voltage gated sodium channels. They act from within the receptor and they binds to a particular site on the voltage gated sodium channels. After binding with the channel, they prevent or decreases the entry of sodium ions. Thus they blocks the conduction. When the conduction is blocked, the threshold for the excitability is increased. So ultimately there will be reduced rate of rise of action potentials. Here the BH represents the ionized form of the local anesthetic agent and the B represents the unionized form. The unionized form crosses the biological membrane and the ionized form goes and binds to the particular site on voltage gated sodium channels. Next is the order of susceptibility of nerve fibers to the local anesthetic blockade. Sensory fibers are more affected than the motor fibers, and the sensations usually lost initially are pain, temperature and touch. Myelinated fibers are more susceptible and small fibers are easily affected than large fibers. Autonomic fibers are more susceptible than somatic fibers. Sometimes a vasoconstrictor agent, for example adrenaline, is added along with a local anesthetic agent. This addition provides certain benefits. The vasoconstrictor reduces the absorption of local anesthetics from the site of administration. So, this combination reduces the systemic toxicity of local anesthetic agent. It enhances the intensity of blockade as well as it provides bloodless field for the procedure. But it can be associated with certain drawbacks also. There may be delayed wound healing, tissue edema or necrosis after the local anesthetic vasoconstrictor combination. It should not be used at sites where end arteries are seen, for example, earlobe as well as fingertips. Coming to the systemic actions of local anesthetic agents. First is effects on central nervous system. If local anesthetics are absorbed systematically in excessive amounts, it leads to CNS excitement, and further doses leads to CNS depression. During excitement, there may be tremors, shivering, or convulsions. Depression leads to unconsciousness as well as respiratory depression, which ultimately results in death of the patient. In CVS, they have depressant action. They decreases the automaticity, contractility, and conductivity, and prolongs the effective refractory period. By sympathetic blockade, they lead to hypotension, and at high concentration, they have a direct relaxing effect on the arteriolar smooth muscle. They also have antiarrhythmic actions. Soluble surface anesthetics rapidly absorbed from mucous membrane and abraded skin. Esters usually have short duration of action as they are hydrolyzed by plasma pseudocholinesterase. Their metabolic byproduct, para-aminobenzoic acid, is said to be the cause for the allergic reaction. Amides produces more intense and longer lasting anesthesia. They bind to alpha-1 acid glycoprotein in the plasma. They are metabolized in the liver into various inactive metabolites. True allergic reactions are usually rare with amide agents. Coming to the adverse effects, it leads to hypersensitivity reactions, pain at the injection site, or it may delay the wound healing. The CNS toxicity features are tongue numbness, lightheadedness, visual disturbances, muscular twitching, tinnitus, unconsciousness, convulsion, coma, as well as respiratory arrest. And the cardiovascular complications like bradycardia, hypotension, or arrhythmias may be seen. Now coming to individual agents. First one is cocaine. It's a natural alkaloid obtained from Erythroxylon coca. It's a surface anesthetic agent mainly preferred in ocular anesthesia. It elevates the mood and behavior in the patients, and by stimulating various CNS centers, it leads to bradycardia, rise in BP, vomiting, as well as pyrexia. In periphery, by its sympathomimetic action, it leads to vasoconstriction, tachycardia, mydriasis, etc. Next is lignocaine. It is the most widely used local anesthetic agent. Can be used for surface application, infiltration, as well as for nerve blocks. It's available in a variety of form. Apart from local anesthetic action, it's also used for arrhythmias and as a transdermal patch in postherpetic neuralgia. It leads to CNS depressant effects, drowsiness, tinnitus, dizziness, and altered taste, and very high dose leads to seizure, coma, respiratory depression. Next is prilocaine. Its properties are similar to lignocaine, but this agent has low CNS toxic potential. One of its metabolites has the potential to cause methemoglobinemia. It can be used for infiltration, nerve block, intravenous, regional anesthesia, etc. Next is eutectic mixture. It contains both lignocaine and prilocaine. It's mainly used for anesthetizing the intact skin. Here, lignocaine and prilocaine are mixed in equal proportions at 25 degree. The resulting oil is emulsified into water to form a cream. It can be used for IV cannulation, split skin grafting, and other superficial procedures. It provides anesthesia up to a depth of around 5 millimeter, and which is lasts for around 1 to 2 hours. Tetracaine is a highly soluble PABA ester. It's a more potent and toxic agent because of its toxic potential. Nowadays, its use is restricted only to the topical sites. Bupivacaine is a potent and long-acting local anesthetic agent. It provides adequate analgesia without significant motor blockade. This agent is preferred for the analgesia during labor and can also be used for post-operative pain relief as a continuous epidural infusion. But this agent is associated with myocardial toxicity. It leads to myocardial depression, prolongation of QT interval, or ventricular tachycardia. Levobupivacaine is an F enantiomer of bupivacaine, which is having less cardiotoxic potential. Ropivacaine, it's a congener of bupivacaine. It's equally long acting but less cardiotoxic with respect to bupivacaine. Continuous epidural infusion of ropivacaine is a preferred choice for control of labor pain as well as postoperative pain. Dibucaine is the most potent, toxic and longest acting local anesthetic agent. This agent is preferred only as a surface anesthetic agent on mucous membranes. Oxytocin is another topical anesthetic agent. This agent is very effective in anesthetizing gastric mucosa. So it can be used along with antacids in gastritis, drug-induced gastric irritations, in gastroesophageal reflux disease, as well as in heartburn of pregnancy. Certain other surface anesthetic agents are benoxynate, benzocaine, butylaminobenzoate, etc. They can be used as surface anesthetic agents for the eye, as lozenges for stomatitis or sore throat, then as dusting powder or ointments on wounds, as suppositories on anorectal lesions. So the clinical uses of local anesthetics includes topical anesthesia, infiltration anesthesia, conduction block, spinal, epidural and intravenous regional anesthesia. Surface anesthesia includes application of local anesthetics to mucous membrane and abraded skin, which relieves the itching, burning and surface pain. Here only the superficial layers are anesthetized. Example is eutectic mixture, which can be applied even on the intact skin. In local infiltration, a diluted solution of local anesthetic agent is infiltrated under the skin, which blocks the sensory nerve endings. The most commonly used agents are lignocaine and bupivacaine. Local infiltration is mainly preferred for the minor procedures, for example incision or excision of certain lesions. Conduction block can be field block or nerve block. In field block, local anesthetics injected subcutaneously in an area surrounding the nerves. All nerves coming to that particular field, they are blocked. This procedure can be used for dental procedures or herniorrhaphy. In nerve block, the local anesthetics are injected around a particular nerve or nerve plexus. All the muscles supplied by those nerves are blocked. We have a radial nerve block or ulnar nerve blocks are the examples. Next is spinal anesthesia. Here the drug is injected into the subarachnoid space of spinal cord between L2, L3 or L3, L4 of the lumbar vertebrae. The primary site of drug action is in the nerve root in cauda equina, and this procedure is used to anesthetize the lower abdomen, lower limb, etc. These are the few advantages of spinal anesthesia over general anesthesia. Usually there will be no loss of consciousness and the procedure is much safe, and it produces good analgesia and muscle relaxation, and there are less chances of problems in those with cardiac, pulmonary, renal disease and those with diabetes. But the procedure is not completely risk-free. It can lead to headache, hypotension, nausea and vomiting, cauda equina syndrome, septic meningitis and respiratory paralysis. Now few Contraindications to spinal anesthesia. Spinal anesthesia is contraindicated in hypotension or hypovolemia and those with bleeding diathesis or vertebral anomalies. It should be withheld in those with sepsis at the injection site, and it is very difficult to perform in uncooperative patients. Next is epidural anesthesia. Here the drug is injected into the epidural space. It's widely used to provide analgesia or anesthesia in surgical as well as in obstetric practice. Depending upon the site of injection of drug, epidural anesthesia is divided into thoracic, lumbar, and caudal types. Coming to intravenous regional anesthesia, here the local anesthetic agents are injected into a vein of tourniquet occluded limb, and the drug diffuses retrograde from the peripheral vascular bed to non-vascular tissues, which includes nerve endings. It's mainly used in upper limb and for orthopedic procedures. So that's all about local anesthetics. Thank you.